Welcome to the first episode of Tox Chat Box, a SCIEX vodcast series where we discuss the latest trends and applications in forensic toxicology. Pierre Negri from SCIEX, and in today's episode, we're going to discuss the use of accurate mass spectrometry for drug screening and identification of unknown substances. And today we're joined by SCIEX's own Karl Oetjen. Karl is a senior scientist on the North American marketing team. Hey, Karl, how's it going?
Good, Pierre. Thanks for having me.
So, Karl, can you tell us more about your scientific background, what you do at SCIEX in your current role, and most importantly, what you enjoy the most about working in this field?
Yeah, so I've been doing mass spectrometry for over 10 years now, starting in oil and gas, where we were doing a lot of unknown research, looking for compounds and how they're changing as they returned up whole from hydraulic fracturing. So that's got to be my favorite part, right? Is figuring out what the unknown compound is. So going from a feature to an ID. But since I've joined SCIEX, I started in applications where I was doing customer training before moving into this role 3 years ago or so, where I focused much more on customer collaborations and creating scientific content.
So you being an accurate mass expert is actually very fitting, right? Because today I want to have you on the vodcast to discuss the use and the benefits of accurate mass spectrometry, more specifically for drug screening and characterization of unknown substances. Can you describe in maybe a few words some of the benefits for accurate mass for those types of workflows?
Yeah, definitely. When I think of the major benefit of accurate mass for those types of workflows, it would be adding confidence. So moving from a sort of a triple quadruple or nominal mass, where, the mass errors within 0.7 Daltons to an accurate mass system where we're talking about to the fourth decimal place is huge. We can become really, really confident in the compound we're looking for. And that can allow us to both see through the noise of interferences, but be sure when we say this is in fact this, that we can be confident and put a gold star on it.
Now, you and I have been going to a lot of forensic toxicology trade shows over the past couple of years, and I think you would agree that we've seen a great uptick in accurate mass adoptions over the past couple of years in the forensic toxicology community, and precisely for the reasons that you mentioned, right? There's a lot of screening workflows that require identification of unknown substances or new substances, and I think you would also agree that we've seen a lot of our customers really digging into that data and really screen for additional candidate precursors, more specifically using diagnostic ion screening. So I know you're the expert in the field, so I wanted to ask you if you could share some insights on the benefits of this approach, really to benefit the streamlining process for drug screening and also maybe cover some of the potentials for the identification of drug biomarkers in biological samples.
Yeah, definitely. We've certainly seen high resolution mass spectrometry sort of increase the amount of usage in the forensics field over the past, I'd say 5 years. It seems like it's almost tripled. And one of the tools that they can try to use, or we can try to use to sort of better characterize our chemical space is diagnostic ion screening. So diagnostic ion screening is really taking a compound that you know something about, one of its diagnostic ions at least, maybe two, maybe three, and interrogating your data set to find what features have those in diagnostic ions. And then after that, you can try to figure out what they are, but you've already got a huge clue. It's related to your parent compound.
So you mentioned diagnostic ion screening being more and more prevalent, right? We've seen also an uptick in our users using Molecule Profiler, right? Which is a software tool that's directly integrated into SCIEX OS, right? And I was wondering if you could maybe describe your experience processing accurate mass data using Metabolite Profiler, and then more specifically, to do retrospective analysis on previously acquired data sets and the type of information that you can extract from that platform.
Yeah, definitely. So Molecule Profiler is a tool within SCIEX OS that you can use to basically say, here's the compound I'm interested in. Take fentanyl, for example. So here's fentanyl, here's its structure, here's its MSMS spectra, and Molecule Profile will go in and say, great, now tell me what data sets you want to query and what you want to query it for. And in this case, we're talking about diagnostic ions. So I might say, hey, I want to find any feature that has that 105 ion, and I want you to list it for me. So a data set that might have contained 5,000 different features in a complex matrix like blood now contains 20 of compounds or features of interest that contain those ions that are related to fentanyl. So it's a great way to sort of shrink your list down and save some time.
Great, Karl. It's really good information. And that's a wrap for today's episode on the use of diagnostic ion screening using Molecule Profiler for drug screening and unknown substance identification. So big thank you to my guest, Karl. Thank you for answering all my questions and sharing all your knowledge.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, Pierre.
Awesome. And thanks to the viewers for tuning in and watching this episode. As Karl mentioned, if you want to know more about the use of Molecule Profiler, please make sure to check out the software page on SCIEX.com. And also, as Karl mentioned, I'm going to share the direct links to the technical notes that describes the use of this platform for the analysis of fentanyl analogs. And then I'm also going to provide a direct link to the on-demand webinar that Karl presented if you want to know more about this. Thanks for joining us today. In the next episode, we'll be joined by Dr. Alex Rutolsky, who is managing the NPS Discovery Program over at the Center for Forensic Science Research and Education. And in the next episode, we'll be discussing how his lab is using accurate mass spectrometry, again, for characterization and identification of unknown novel psychoactive substances. So we're going to be digging into how he's leveraging accurate mass and all these bioinformatic tools for the NPS Discovery Program that he's spearheading. So make sure to tune in for that. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.